Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to Life Off the Bench. I'm trying to get this music going, man. Yeah. Hey, man. I love that intro music, man. It puts me in some type of mood, makes me feel some type of way. Always, wrong thing. Always makes me feel some type of way, man. When I see that thing, I don't know if we got any. I don't know if we got anything to post today, but we're gonna we're talking about a really touchy subject tonight. One that people really try to refrain and abstain from talking about, especially in public forums. Um, I want to make this known, and I'm going to type this in the comments as well. We are not here tonight. We are not here tonight. I want to reiterate this 3 times. We are not here tonight to try to tell someone which party affiliation to be a part of. That is not the goal here tonight. It's solely to see how we can do politics better. It definitely can be done better. Um, and if we care the way we say we care, it should be done better. I don't. I'm a private person, really, when it comes to politics. To be honest, like, because sometimes people can take the most minute thing you say the wrong way, and you're in a big conflict, and now you got to use conflict resolution and all that to maybe keep from choking somebody. So I definitely understand,
Okay.
why people do not like talking about politics. But again, this is real life, and that's the basis of what this show was built on. Talking about real life issues, trying to come up with real life solutions. And we want you all to definitely join the conversation tonight. Do not be afraid to chime in. Do not be afraid to express yourself. Um, I don't care if you're a Republican, Democrat. What was that Malcolm said uh, in the Spike Lee's versions of Malcolm X? I don't care if you're a Mason or a Jew or an elk. I don't care about none of that. I care that you're human. I care that you express life in a humane fashion. I care that you treat people humanely, and that's what means a lot to me in this world. My The premise of who I am is built on treating people exactly the way that I want to be treated, and so that's why everybody knows that my if you know me, you know I say a lot. Choose love. Like, I choose love. I choose to give love freely. I'm gonna also do something else that I probably don't normally do. I normally be the only one that gives a little opening monologue, but since this is a different topic, I like for Chad and Shapri to also express, because I need everybody to be comfortable here in this situation and comfortable in their own skin. So if you guys choose to make an opening statement, you guys are more than free to. If not, just say pass. And everybody know when when I say pass, that means that I don't have a comment. All right, Chad, go ahead.
Well, first of all, I consider it a privilege and an honor to be on this panel today. today we're talking about politics. And again, like you gave the disclaimer earlier that we're not trying to influence anybody's political affiliation or you know disseminate anything about what's wrong and what's right. However, the one thing that I would like to for people to understand that everybody needs to be a part of the process. Uh, Everything, and I'm a teacher, an educator by trade, and involved in the community. And as much as I don't like to get involved in political type things, I know that that is a part of uh, and fuels some of the things that helps uh, things within education, things within the community, services and goods going to the people. So um, the only thing that I would like to implore to people is if you don't like some of the things that's going on and the byway of getting has to do with politics, get involved and and be a part of that process. So I just want folks to be aware and involved. So preach.
So for me, I kind of piggyback off Hobart because I usually don't discuss politics and religion. Those are two things I usually don't discuss because it's a little touchy for people. But being that we're doing it for the podcast, I will. For me, understanding is what I go on. I won't tell my stance, but I will say understand what your community need, understand what the country needs overall when voting or, you know, choosing to vote for someone. Yes, we all do need to be involved because we are all living in this and it affects everyone. But again, make sure you understand. And if you don't want to be in exposed or face out there, you can always read on your own. Read to see what each person individual has contributed previously. So just for me, it's understanding what's needed in all areas and what this person can or cannot contribute.
Right, right. Hey, both really good points, you guys. I just, again, I can't reiterate or express enough that tonight's show isn't about telling you which political party or affiliation to be a part of. It's solely a conversation about politics. Man, then I think I had sent that
I
to the
think
group.
people need to understand what it is first and the difference in the parties. Because some people just choose a side because of what they think it might be, or they think this person might be for them. But you kind of need to understand what a Democrat is, what a Republican is, what a Libertarian is, all the different sides of politics, you know, when making a decision.
I pulled this up. It comes from wikipedia.org. I sent it to the group, y'all.
Okay.
It says political system.
Okay.
In political science, a political system defines the process for making official government decisions. It is usually compared to the legal system, economic system, cultural system, and other social systems. However, this is a very simplified view of a much more complex system of categories involving the question of who should have authority and what the government influence on its people and economy should be. I think that's a really great overall, and it's broad, but it's really generalized and defined as to what the political system and political process is. Um, Again, this subject always scares me because when you look at it from a human standpoint, people can never get it right. You know, the one thing that really scares me when we talk about politics and laws and governance is that it's it's laws and rules that are still on the books that are so antiquated and have nothing to do with today's times. Like that scares me because now if I choose to, I can go back to 1909 and research a law, and because it's a law and it's the law of politics, I can use that to condemn someone. That's the part about politics that I don't like. You know, I'm a firm believer, and I've expressed this forever. Um, we can't continue to do politics and policies like we've done forever. At some point, we have to change what we do because, again, if you're humane and you care about people and people in general, whether they're related to you or not, you gotta you gotta have some kind of sympathy and empathy because at the end of the day, politics and policy and law is for and about who? The people. The
So I
people
think that
are
goes back to Chad saying being involved in requiring the system to evolve as we do in everyday living. So if you don't know the laws, you can't possibly get someone to change them or push for them to be changed. So you have to start with knowing the laws first and understanding what laws should be changed and kind of getting. I think now we don't have the system that we used to have where we had that group of people that was focused solely on that and pushed for that, like the Martin Luther Kings and you know, the people that were really into. I don't think now people are really, really into it, in tune, I should say, in tune with politics, the
Well,
way we need to be.
right. I was looking at the definition that you read earlier, and there was some things that was highlighted. It said it compares or it involves the legal systems,
Yeah.
the economic systems, the cultural systems, and the social systems. And
Mhm.
so, in reference to what we just mentioned, all of these things have evolved over time. And so when you're saying, hey, there's a law on the books from the early 1900s, I guess the thing is that we have to be astute and know, is this law still being enforced? Because there's a lot of laws on the books that, like you said, is old and antiquated, but aren't being enforced. Um, I can remember when I was in college, we would in an educational governance class, we would talk. There was something about uh, a law that had to do with someone riding a horse. Well, of course, I would hope that those types of laws are still not being enforced because and we're not riding horses in most places anymore, though there are some communities that still do,
Right.
you know. Um, so, you know, like I said, it goes back to um, are are the laws that we have that govern legal systems, that govern economic systems, that governs or that deals with the cultural systems, the modern cultural systems, and the modern social systems, are they up to date? And if they are not, we need to bring them to the attention of the people who we elect to, you know, to make laws or and all. And I guess it goes back to an accountability piece. We need to make sure that the people that we elect uh, are accountable, which means that we have to be accountable. You know, we have to either appoint someone or do it ourselves to go to the city council meetings, to go to the uh, county council meetings or parish council meetings as it relates to Louisiana, and be astute of the things that's being put into place that governs our social, cultural, economic, and legal systems in our area. And um, those are the things that we have to if we're not doing it ourselves, we need to have some a representative of our community of our where we live, so that we can so they can keep us abreast of those different things that are happening.
But it's still, like you said, accountability, because we need to make sure when we choose those representatives, they're, can play both sides as far as for us and against us, because sometimes what we want may not be what we need. But we also have to understand and know that they are for the community as well. And
Right.
what have you done? What can you do? What can your team do? What are you willing to do? How far are you willing to go? Like, those are the questions we need to ask, because some get discouraged so as quick as we do.
Right.
And that's just not the people you need in place. And I think discouragement came when, from what we've been shown in the past. But we do need to have those people in place, but we also need to know what they have contributed prior to,
Mm.
and
Right.
if they're really willing to put all in for it.
Hey, I wanna read this. I found this on hbr.org. hbr.org. That stands for Harvard Business Review.org.
Hmm.
It's the four metaphors of organizational politics, and it's the woods, the weeds, the high ground, and the rocks. And I'm gonna read a little bit from each one. The woods in this quadrant: personal influence and informal network rule. I call it the weeds because it's a dynamic that grows naturally without any maintenance. It can be a good thing. For example, at one not for profit organization, the Secretary General was seriously underperforming and sometimes acting unethically, leading staff to worry that if they lose the support of key donors and government officials, as a result, an informal group of regularly net met to cover up his mishandling of situations. However, the problem became unsuitable, and the same group within the year helped to ease him out to protect the organization's reputation. All right, the rocks. Power in the rocks rests on individual interactions and formal or hard sources of authority, such as title, role, expertise, or access to resource. It might also include political capital that arises from membership or a strong rise to a high status group, such as the finance committee, a special task force, or a senior management team. I call this the rocks because rocks can symbolize a stabilization foundation that keeps an organization steady in times of crises. But conversely, the sharp edges of hard power can wreck a plan. All right, that's a piece of the rock. The high ground. The high ground combines formal authority with organizational systems. I use this term to describe the rules, structures, policy, guidelines, and procedure that form the basis of political activities. And the woods, in addition to their formal process and guidelines, organizations also have embedded norms, hidden assumptions, and unspoken routines, and that's where we get into the woods. The woods can provide cover and safety for people in your organization, or they can help a bewildering place where good ideas and necessary changes get lost. Thus, Here it is important to understand the woods from the trees, as you can miss the former if you focus on the symptoms rather than the hidden barriers to strategy execution. I know that was a lot, but reading that made sense to me. What was that? The rocks was just what Chad was talking about. People getting involved, people doing their part. And if we always hide in an effort not to say something as to be critiqued or criticized, because people are going to critique you and criticize you no matter what you do in life.
That's right.
So hiding isn't the answer. You have you like we again we can't be afraid or worried about what people say when we're losing our kids every day, or a city that's the fourth largest city in a state still looks the same way it did 35 years ago, because the people who are in charge of making things go, making things change, making things more beautiful, haven't cared or had any concern about that environment. We can't be worried about that. Like, why are we still allowing people who don't give a damn to govern our kids? Like, education comes from that.
Right.
Go ahead, Chad.
So when I think about what you just said and the different characteristics of the people that you just described and people who we elect, you know, you have to also understand that some of the people we have to really make a very, very conscious effort and choice in learning who we're electing, what their platform is, what's their areas of expertise, and that they know what the needs of their people that they represent, what are their needs, because it's like this. So and then that they inform the people of different things, because you must know that it is very, very difficult to be a political figure and represent a group of people. It's difficult because there's so many layers to a lot of different things that goes on within government. And that one thing might not be able to go because another thing is not moving and everything. So I think it's been my experience that if our political figures could really be open and transparent and let us know what's going on, we could better understand and have a little bit more, be informed, have a little bit more compassion for their position and what they're trying to do. And they keep us informed on where they're trying to go, and kind of give us a status report of what it is that they're trying to do. Then we wouldn't be so disgruntled about, we're saying like, hey, we elected this guy, he's been in 2 years and he ain't done this. We've been asking for this. But like I said, it may have to do with finances. It may have to do with some fiscal things. It may be some things may take. I'll give you an example. Okay, so for a long time, I was really into recreation and the things that having facilities and things available to kids. All right. And what I didn't really understand, and it was a particular park that I was really, really interested in. And I was wondering why there wasn't upgrades and different things done to this particular park. And I learned through and it had to do with political processes and everything as it related to recreation. That one, if a facility is underutilized, then they're not going to pump money into it,
Right.
for it to be not used. All right. Then also there were some things that took precedent over, maintain or not. I want to say maintaining the park, because the park was maintained, but um, getting that park, like the road leading to it, needed to be um, redone. So that takes precedent. That infrastructure piece takes precedent over, some of these aesthetic things that was needed at this park as well. So, but that information was not given to the community, so they didn't understand. It wasn't until, I learned about some things, and I'm talking to people who wanted some of the same things that I wanted, to get them to understand, hey, look, this is a process. We have to do this before we could do this, before we could get this. And so they was like, well, why hadn't anybody ever told us this? Why didn't we ever know? Why is it that the person that we should be able to touch, our representative, our local representative, why isn't that he's not coming back down and disseminating this information to us, so that we won't be left in limbo to not know this? And honestly speaking, the people that I spoke to, I said, it may be partly his fault, but it's partly our fault too. In that we're not asking these questions. We're not going to the city council meetings. We only show up and go and find out when it's a problem. But it's something that we should want to be involved in, or have somebody appointed to be involved in within our community, to bring back that type of information. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I can't say that it's a task, and it's a job to do that, because you got to give up a portion of um, your lifestyle and your livelihood to see these things through. And we all get busy with all the things that we got going on, but are you gonna give up an hour worth of your time to go to a city council meeting once a week? You
I
know,
mean, I agree with you, but I feel like if you can spend an hour on Facebook
oh,
or an hour
absolutely,
on Instagram, even if it's 30 minutes, you can spend that hour in that meeting if it matters to you. I
right?
think we tend to look at things not when it's a problem, but when it affects us directly. So if it's something that is stopping me from doing something I want to do, now you have my attention.
Hmm.
Before, because it didn't affect me directly, you don't have my attention. So I think we need to understand that it's not even about affecting us now, it's affecting our kids. And in order to, again, I go back to understanding. I can read and find out what is the issue or why this, because they document everything.
That's
So I
right.
can read and find out what the issue is, and that takes what, 30 minutes if you're a fast reader, hour, however long. But if you can read all these comments on Facebook and give your input on Facebook, the fighting, the issues that they have on Facebook, this should be more important to you. But you have to understand, and you have to know if your representative, is it about a win for him, or is it really about evolving and developing your community?
Right.
Because some of them, it's a win. Oh, I got another notch on my belt. And some of them are actually concerned about, you know, bringing up our community and the future of the kids. We also need to get kids more involved.
Right.
I think we tend to try to hide things from our kids when they're young instead of explaining to them how this will affect them in the future and why they need to be involved and why you should understand. And it goes back to you saying, if something is in usage, that's just, I look at it like a car salesman. He's gonna tell me everything I need to know about this car so I can buy it, right? All the bells and whistles. He's not gonna tell me the negative things, meaning the recalls and the whatever, if they have a little fuse issues. He's not gonna tell me all of that, because then I'm gonna think about another car. So a politician is the same way. I'm gonna tell you what I need to tell you so you can vote for me so I can win. And that's it. We as the people have to dig in deep. You know what I'm saying? We got to dig in deep. What did you do prior to running? You know what I'm saying? Was you successful at what you did prior to running? So we have to get off our behind and make sure we are on it with them and not just listen to what they say. we can't be surface people. That's what I call them, surface people. So you have to dig for yourself and read for yourself. If you can't attend that meeting, like I said, they keep minutes. You can read, you can give your follow up later, whatever the case may be. You can ask somebody who went to the meeting. Hey, you can ask me when that club opened. You know, ask me ask me what time that meeting, or what they say, what do they say, or how does it affect our kids. I mean, I just think we use a lot of excuses to not do things that
Right.
we should do. You can't put it all on one person.
Right.
And we have to quit putting these people on pedestals as if they don't make mistakes, they don't mess up, they can't, miss something. That's why they have a team. But again, we supposed to be a part of it, just on the outside.
I know one other thing too, just to piggyback off of what you said. I don't want anybody to think that they have to be an expert in all things, because, like I said, I'm big with the community. I'm big with recreation and kids. That may be my thing. So maybe I'll just go just to the recreation meetings, just to the, and be astute on those types of things. There may be someone who's major concern is drainage and infrastructure. Then that person becomes, of your community, becomes very, very astute on everything's drainage and infrastructure, so that they can disseminate, hey, look, y'all, this is what they're doing, and this is how it affects us, and all. And so, and we need to do this, or we need to make sure that when they're allocating these monies, that a portion of this comes to our area where we have these specific drainage issues, this particular infrastructure issues. So it only takes us picking. And sometimes we just need to pick a platform, and understand too that some of our politicians that we elect, they have that too. But I would hope that they become astute, or latch on to someone who has expertise in the things that they don't have. As we can't expect them to be experts in everything, all things government, because realistically, who's an expert in everything? No one is. I mean, that's why they have a team. You say, that's why they have a team. But we want them to gather information as it relates to the people they represent, and be able to disseminate information back to us, so that we can say, hey, look, this is what we need. How can we make this? How can you push forward and make this work for us?
Well, for me, expert, just because you have a degree don't make you an expert.
Right.
Just because you're campaigning or you're running does not make you an expert. You haven't experienced it. So how are you an expert? You only become and I don't really use the word expert, but you only become knowledgeable about a situation or about things when you experience them. I can go to school and learn everything in the books and still not know a thing. Until I experience it, then I know something, because I see it, I feel it, I'm exposed to it. You know what I'm saying? So I think we kind of, with the everyday person or people, we need to stop using that word, because that may make them shy away from it. Stop using big words, although Google tells you everything, so you can Google it. But I think it's something as small as lunch for the kids. A mom, a father can run with that, because I want a healthier lunch for my child. Certain things about, like you said, pick what you know. But I don't think it's an expert. Don't consider that person an expert until they've experienced it. If this your first time running, you haven't experienced anything, so you don't know. You don't even know what's to come.
Right. And I said expert, but I didn't mean it necessarily in that way. I meant it. That it's been my experience. Many people who run, they have a certain thing that's their thing. If, let's say, you had a person that worked with public works, and then they're run for office. Well, they are very astute of what's going on in public works, the ins and outs, so that they may not be astute on what's going on within recreation.
So then, is that the right person?
Quite possibly, because
we might not need anything in public works, We might need something finance in economics, or we might need something. I mean, you kind of got to get a person that's general and willing to learn. And I get what you're saying, not about him being an expert, just an expert in his area. But when you have someone that's speaking for the people, and I think that's the problem, we need someone that's kind of all around, willing to gain knowledge in all areas needed. Because public works, hey, me personally, I could care. How does that affect my household? How does that affect our kids? I may not understand it because I'm not in it. But
Right.
you may, if that's the only thing you understand and that's the only thing you're trying to get something out of, it's not going to help us wholeheartedly. So, I
Right.
mean, I think, I got what you were saying, but I think we just need to. And again, who's to say he knows everything about it? That's what they tell us. Show me. Show me what you know. Show me what you have done. Show me your success. Show it to me. And that's all I'm saying. Uh, I think again, those words scare people because we do say expert a lot. We do say, oh, they're expert in this, they're expert in that. And that scares people because if you know all, then what am I bringing to you? If you're an expert, what can I say to you that you're going to listen to?
But yes, but they may be able to give you a perspective that you may not know about because they've been working in that field for some time. I'm not saying that they have the end all tell all and know everything, but I don't know anything about cleaning ditches and pipes and stuff like
Mhm.
that. I don't know anything about that. But if that person, let's say that was their profession for
Mhm.
30 years, they worked in public works, they moved up the ranks and became supervisors, were in the board meetings and the city council meetings of, as it related to public works and everything, and has some knowledge of other things as well.
Mhm.
So whenever we have drainage problems in our community, you know, I think I want to go to the public works guy and try to find out what's going on and how's this working. How does that, how does it
Right.
affect me and everything? And not that he's a expert end all tell all, but he has a working knowledge of that as it relates to our city government,
Right.
our and those different types of things. And he may be able to move initiatives to help improve those types of things. And what I say, like that may be their platform, like that is their background, which
Right. Like mine is finance, yours is
right,
education. So I get it. But I
right,
think in that you have a team. You don't
right,
have like one person. That means if I'm running, I need to have a team. So I need somebody who's good over here, somebody who's good over in school, somebody who's good in finance. Like I need a team so that I can present this all around. I
right,
mean, I can have my expertise or my knowledge in whatever area, but I still need people around me who has knowledge in other areas that I may not.
right,
So again, that's why I say it's good to have a team, but we still need to know, what do your team know? You know what I'm saying?
right,
I think again, majority of the people are surface people. We don't read. We don't, they tell us if you want people to not know something, put it in writing.
yep,
When it should be the opposite. If you want people to know something, put it in writing. But people don't read. We look at the news and, well, I don't really look at the news, but people look at the news and say, oh, this was happening today, blah, blah, blah. We getting a stimulus check. We getting about 4 or 5, 2 per kid, whatever. But you're not looking at when you get that stimulus check, this is an advance from your next year taxes. This is not free money. The government don't give away anything free. But
right,
since you're a surface, you listening. Oh, you getting some free money. Da, da, da. So you going to blow up Walmart for TVs because it's free money. No, you're gonna have to pay that back. It's gonna change your income bracket. It's gonna change it, like it changes a lot for you next year. So it's again understanding what Don't do that, Hobart, because I'm telling the truth. I'm being honest here. It's understanding what this representative is getting us into, getting us out of, making work for us. Also, it's to know that the representative will make sure we are knowledgeable. They explain things to us. So you're on mute. Unmute yourself if you're gonna talk. But I just think it goes back to understanding and, like you said, involved. Um and just knowing what we're allowing somebody to do for us.
Hey y'all.
Oh, whatever.
Chad made me mute myself, and he didn't say unmute myself. So I was just being patient till it was my turn
But
again.
this is what we see. But if you're muted.
I was just being silly, honestly.
No,
it
it's
was time
cool.
to change the direction of the road like 10 minutes ago. But y'all were having so much fun. I love the banter. For real. I
The
love
direction
it
of
when
the
you,
road. Okay, so what you
yeah.
want to change it to? Let's go.
So again, I wanted to do this like 10, 12 minutes ago, but I'm glad you guys both brought up politics at a local level because that's the standard of where things change at. How many people know on what night? And this is a real. I guarantee you can't get 10 people that know what night their city council or their parish council or their county commissioners meet on. How can you help change something when you don't even know what night to be at the meeting, or you don't know that the city of Gonzales city council meets every other Monday at 6 p.m.
I mean,
Yeah.
You'd have to have been there.
right,
But it's like Chad say, involved.
right. And some people don't know that. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. Uh, the only reason why I know is because there's been some things on the agenda that organizations, and like I said, uh, youth organizations and everything, we've been on that platform, on their agenda that I had to attend and represent them. But honestly speaking, with other things, I haven't been to very many um, city council meetings. I've been involved in astute on some of those things as it relates to education because I knew that it was going to be on the agenda, and I followed it. But yeah, many people do not know um, that when their city council meetings are, when their parish or council meetings are, nor do they know where to even find the minutes to those meetings, what's going to be on those agendas. And man, a lot of times it's right there on their websites. It's right there. They post them in the newspapers, the local newspapers, um, and probably many other mediums as well. There is even in our area, they have them on TV, on the local access channel. And from time to time, I'll watch it, just to see what's going on. But most of the time, I can't even lie. If it involves kids and recreation, that's when I mostly I'm involved.
And that's because that's your thing, like you said, your thing. But I think most people don't make time for it. Um, I can say for me, no, I haven't been to meetings, but I do read, especially when it comes to me voting for someone. I read because I think I learn more that way, more about a person, more of what the issues are. Um, Again, because people can tell you anything, politician, priest, whoever, they can tell you anything. So I think I learn more by reading. Uh, I'm not really a meeting type person, so it wouldn't do me any good to sit there because I probably tuned out, and I'm just being honest. I've probably tuned out halfway through the meeting. Like,
I know.
huh?
I know for me, man, I get in trouble every time I go to a city council meeting because
You're vocal.
my heart is so big and I care so much, and I'm just too damn vocal. I say something like my heart be saying, "Shut up, little boy." My mind be saying, "Don't you say one word."
And
And
I
the
and I
next thing,
you know what?
my
I
mouth
think
just
you'll be the
start
same way.
talking.
And I think that's why I don't go, because I'm very vocal and I'm very passionate. So I'm like, I can't sit and people are not telling the truth. I'm not good with that. I can't sit and people, I'm the one who would probably speak up all the time.
I'm the
And
one that speak up all the time.
right, that's
Like
what I'm saying. If I went, I probably would. So yeah, it might. I don't know. Maybe I'll try one this year and let you guys know how it went.
but
I'm look,
but we must like I know that a lot of people only care about what happens within the confines of their own home,
Right.
or if it directly relates to a relative or someone that's not their relative that they care closely about. But we have to, like, we really gotta just we gotta think about someone other than ourselves.
true that.
For me, I get tired of seeing money spent on stuff that isn't going to help the whole. Like, again, I'm going to use the city where I was born and raised at, Monroe, Louisiana, because it get disgusting to go home sometimes. You go on the north side of town and everything is beautiful, bright, and vibrant. And then you go on the east side or the south side of town and it's still broken down, abandoned buildings, the grass is high as shit, or like somebody got mad at me. One of my family members got mad at me about a month or so ago, and we're cool. Like, I love her to death, but we have a bridge, Chad, and you know what bridge I'm talking about. When
Mm.
you're going like toward northeast, um, bridge been there all my life. Like, the bridge was there when I was a little boy, and so that means that it was built. It was probably built in the 50s or 60s. Um, and especially when I lived there, I never seen people doing maintenance on that bridge. And so they talking about, oh, we're gonna paint the bridge, paint it. You gotta make sure them screws still tight on that sucker.
Like it's gonna hold up, right?
Yeah, like, you worry about painting and putting this or that on there, man. Like, what about all these raggedy buildings that are just ain't even usable anymore? Like, half the structure gone. Why not
Right.
get that tore down? And now what you've done is you've increased property value again.
Right. And I
You
think
know,
again that goes to being involved. Um, because even and that's in every state, every city.
yeah,
Here, the north side, beautiful. Kids have iPads at school. On the south side, they just now getting some slow laptops. You get what I'm so I mean, right, you gave them a laptop and it's slow. It take them all day to do one lesson. So I mean, I think it's just about being involved in trying to understand. You have to understand the budget, you know, you have to
Mhm.
understand who it's sometimes it's about who you know, because
Mhm.
our representative need to know people as well.
right.
But yeah, we do need to get out and get to those meetings and get to more involved and have a better understanding. Until then, like that bridge, they're just painting things. They're making it pretty, but they're not fixing the structure. So I mean, and that's because we don't it's not many of us speak up. Yeah, Hober, you might go to the meeting and you might speak up, but how many people are actually speaking up? You the only one, two, three out of however many is in there.
Mm.
Right.
That's not the majority. So,
Mhm.
Real
more
spill.
people need to speak up.
Real spill. So, like, I know another thing that really, like, this depresses me. Like, when I was married, um, lived in the same house, same area over 10 years, and I never once met our parish councilman never not once came knocked on our door, but every election cycle he was still like he was getting reelected for doing what? Like what has he been doing? And he's been the parish councilman for that area for 20 years.
Right.
How are we
So
that self-absorbed where we can't even see that?
so here's my spiel on that. But is he the problem, or are we part of the problem too? Because our local officials are somebody we could touch, that we could see, that we could go and talk to, that should be available. Um, you know,
Right.
to 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 hear and hear about our concerns. I mean, I know in our town, I know several of our councilmen, and I have conversations with them. Some of them about some of the things that we got going on, and other things. Just to have a relate. It's about relationships, building relationships, and then once you build those relationships and rapport with them, then and they see, or you get on one accord with them,
Breathing up.
you can get some of those concerns of yours and your community, and just let them know I'm representing my neighborhood, my street. Here, uh, all of my people can't
Hey,
get out, but I represent them.
excuse me, Chad. I hate to disrupt you, y'all, but I know I look crazy sitting here bobbing my head. But I swear, ever since I played that intro song, it just would not leave my head. Like I do not understand it. That's the catchiest little tune in life.
If it makes you happy, bob your head, okay? But
Man,
Chad, I agree with you. But goes back to what I said, who you know, who they know. Because why, like Hober said, why is this person still in office? It's possibly who he know. That
no,
may be
for,
keeping
for
him there. Because
one,
sometimes we have been shown that our votes don't count. Sometimes
for
we have
one,
been
we don't get
shown.
out and vote. That's why he's still in office.
Well,
That is it
even
too.
but that too. But we have been shown in the past that our votes, they made the decision for us. I'll say that. But I think it, like you said, involved understanding. If you're not involved and you don't, or you can be involved and still not understand what you're doing. So you have to understand, become involved, and stay. Don't do it just for that one time or just because
Right,
this whatever he believes in might benefit you this year. So now next year you're not worried about it. And I
Right.
and I think that's part of the problem too. I might have voted last year, but this year he not talking about what I want to hear. So I'm gonna let it go
how
this year.
do how do we as a society, how do we um, create a better political system?
Um
Mm.
hmm. How do you create a better
How do
political system as a society? I
Yes.
think again, to me, it goes back to understanding what it entails. Because if you don't know what a political system actually is, you have no interest in it. If it doesn't affect you directly, you have no interest in it. Even with healthcare, most people not concerned until the effect of their livelihood or their relatives. Then they want to know why my medical insurance don't cover this. Why isn't it a law to make them? So I guess it's just understanding and want to, take preventative measures, prevent it
Right.
before it happens. And a lot of people just not involved in that anymore, or interested, I should say, in that anymore. So you know, that's just how they have to do. We have to sorry, hit mute by accident. I think we just have to be willing to take preventative measures and understand and get involved prior to the person being elected, prior to it affecting our livelihood or us directly. Um, like you said, not thinking about yourself, thinking about the overall picture. And if we can get people to think about the overall picture, then it'll be better. Because most people vote because it benefits them, not the overall picture.
I think it goes back to the meaning of this compound word,
Yeah,
community.
yeah,
Commune, which means coming together, and unity on one accord. If if our communities could come together on one accord about the things that affect us, it's just like the matchstick um, exercise. You could take one matchstick and snap them, but if you have 20 of them, it's a little bit more difficult. You know, there's strength in numbers. That's why when you go to those city council meetings and you have a unified issue, your voice, you as one person, as one individual, is
right.
hard to get something done. But if you have the whole entire community, it makes these people who we elect take notice. You know, the other thing, like I said, we need to have relationships our with our community leaders. I went to a city council meeting one time, and there was uh, a constituent who had a problem with some drainage in their backyard, you know, with some other entity or whatever. And they said, "Hey, look, I need you to come with me to go to this backyard to see what this entity is, what they're dumping this wastewater or whatever." And guess what? The next time I went to that city council meeting and that was on the agenda, it was addressed. And so I'm willing to bet that is because of the relationship that that person had with the council person, and the fact that that person made good on coming out and to seeing what was going on within their district, that they rectified the situation. And I see it all the time. Every council meeting that I've been to, and I saw in our area, where our council persons, they go out and they address these issues when they're made aware of it. So sometimes we just need to make them aware of some of the things, and hopefully they will be honest enough and transparent enough with us to tell us how quickly they can rectify these different types of situations.
Yeah. I think we need to understand politics is power, right? And we still have a say so in that.
Right.
And I think most times we think our voice is not heard. So we either speak one time or just don't speak up at all.
Right.
So, just understand politics is power, and it determines your livelihood, whether
And,
it's everyday basis, short term, long term. And like you said, majority rule. That's why I told Hobart, you're one person speaking up. I would be one person speaking up. So they're not looking at that. If we get majority of the people to speak up, then we take that power back.
Okay,
and
y'all.
can I say one last thing? And we need to be
Mhm.
persistent too. You know,
Yeah.
if we're told no, and it's a true bona fide, you know, issue that's affecting a group of people, you know, we need to be persistent in those things, so that we could get because we pay taxes and we do, we're a part of the process too. So we should, be persistent and not, it may not be exactly what we want, but we should be able to get some resolve
Right.
in some of the situations.
Yeah. I agree. But that's what I was saying. We don't have those Dr. Martin Luther Kings and Malcolm X. Those they were persistent. They marched from here to there until they got some kind of results.
Right.
So we don't have, in my opinion, we don't have that group of people anymore. Again, it may be 1, 2, 3 people, but it's not majority. And it's not a continuous thing. I think when they show us one thing, this has our attention. But to get it to die down, they bring up something else and we lose focus over here. and start over here. So we have to start from something from beginning to end, and I don't think we do that.
Can we create the politicians we need to better help and serve our communities?
Can we
Can
create?
we?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Like
can the correct politicians run so we can create that?
no, it's just a real question because I really believe that we can create, because it's a lot of young people that really care about life. But
Oh, you mean that way? Okay, go ahead.
yeah, it's a lot of young people that care about life coming out of high school. They're in tune with who and what they want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't we start a fund to where young people that want to be into politics, and while they haven't been corrupted,
And that's what I was about to say.
why can't we create a fund to send kids to college to go take up political science and whatever else you need to become a great politician and have the educational stamina, because that's much needed as well to become a great politician. Why can't we create those people when they're young? Because I got an issue with every 4 years here lately an election comes up, the guy that's looking to run the free world is 75 years old.
Yeah.
Like,
but then that way it's
we ain't got no young people that's smart enough to be president.
It's not even that they're not smart enough. They have to want to be involved. And I think a lot of them are discouraged,
I'm discouraged by having to vote for 75-year-olds that I don't know if after they find out they win and they do this. Shit.
I'm just saying, we can create it. We create a fund for everything else. But now, once they get into politics, do they become corrupted or do they stay? That's what you have to think about, because some people they're not corrupted until they get in it, and then some are discouraged once they get in it because it's not going to change. That's how they may see it. So we have to make sure we're investing in a strong-minded person as well. And when I say strong mind, I'm saying one that is willing to push past what has already been laid out.
So
take that.
Voters to vote.
You in the middle, take that.
So it's Meditra is asking, hi, do you encourage voters to vote when there has been so many letdowns in so many communities? I do. I encourage people to vote. And like I've said earlier, I encourage people to be in tune and have a relationship with the people in which they vote for. And then if they're not genuine and authentic with you, then you know that next time the election cycle comes about, that's not the person that you want to represent you. I mean, we have to, and I know before we spoke about on a national level, you were talking about electing a president that's of age, and then but we have it. But also we got to understand, to get to those different types of levels, it takes time too, because they have to, it's not required, but makes them qualified to be in the top spot if they don't have experience in local government or in state government or in national government. How do they learn about all these different aspects of everything to be in the top spot? So, we have to understand too that it's a process, and we have to get these young people, whomever aspires to be a politician, we have to give them the right training. Like you said, I have an uncle that's really, really big in NAACP, and I know he was expressing to me at one time. He says, we have these types of things set up to train you and to get you, to where you can start being a student in those different types of things. So there's some entities that's already set up, and then too, we need to have other byways and angles on the thing, not just in the traditional entities as well. Because man, things are evolving and changing, and if those groups are not evolving and changing, then we're still stuck in the same spot.
And I think that's the issue. That's how they become corrupt, because they're getting the training that the previous person had, and the previous person, and your great granddaddy and whoever else, they're getting that type of training. So again, things have to evolve with the times, and I
Right.
don't think that's happening. I think they're stuck. you know. So then our kids become stuck because we don't have those kids that's willing to. That's what I mean by push past what's already laid out. I
Uh,
question what's already laid out. You know.
Free,
Yes.
Supreme. That's your
Yes.
question.
Ha. Okay.
Ha, yeah.
When should you contest the authenticity of the person you have elected into office? Um, to me, you should always question it, and it should be before they get in office. You know, the first time they show you something other than what they're saying, because it starts with what you're saying, so your actions have to follow. But again, before they get in office, and once they get in office, you question everything. Questions should never stop. You have to continuously prove. That person has to continuously prove to the people that they are for the people. They are for
But
the
what
kids.
if, what if, but what if, but what if,
Mm-hmm.
but what if
Yeah.
before they get into office, they are saying and doing all the right things that don't make you question the content of their character. And you don't see the other side of that person until after they've been sworn in. Then what?
So, like I said, same thing with a car. Salesperson gonna tell me everything about that car. I don't know what it's like until I drive it. So now I drive it, and once I drive it, I have to, maintain it, upkeep it until I can trade it in. That's just
Should
what it
we,
is. You have
Chad,
to, once they're in office, you make sure you continuously question what they're doing and force them to prove.
there were so many shady car dealers at some point, I think that was in the late 90s, where here in Louisiana, they created the Louisiana Lemon Law,
Mm.
where you have 30 days or 90 days or
Yeah,
something after you bought a car. If it does not hold up in its entirety, then you can take the car back and you're refunded your money, or you
right.
can get another car.
Mhm.
Should we have that in local politics as to where
Yep.
when
Yeah.
people get into office, and I know we got what's called the recall system.
I was just about to say we do. We have that in
But we
place
need to
already. It's called a
use it.
recall.
We
No,
don't
no,
use it.
no, no. Watch this though. Watch this though. Watch this though. All the time when people say, "Oh, we need to recall this guy," now it's not like voting. When it's an election time, the people that are gonna vote, they either make time before work or as soon as they get off, they're running to the polls.
Right.
But sometimes when that re-election paper comes around and they need 5,000 signatures, it may not always be a time where you can get, people are not, when the notice goes out that someone is being recalled, they ain't waiting at home just to sign a recall petition.
Yeah, but it's so many ways to sign a petition now. It's not an excuse. I mean, they get petitions signed through Facebook and Instagram all the time. So I mean, if you really want it, and I think we have to have somebody to push that petition. You
Yeah.
like continuously push it every day. You're gonna see it every day until you sign it.
Like,
Because go ahead,
yeah.
Chad.
I don't know if you could necessarily do a political for somebody office via Facebook. I'm not exactly sure if you can, but I mean, recently we've had some recalls in our area, some campaigns for recalls in our area, and um, put it like this: anything that a person really feels strongly about, they're gonna make do and they're gonna make time for. And those who feel strongly enough about doing a recall for whatever reason has to be able to put the information out there for the people and make it available for people to participate. And it goes back to accountability and participation. We have to be accountable, just as we want to hold politicians and all other entities accountable. We have to be accountable as well. And we also have to participate in the process. That is the process by which we can, get somebody out. That's what the rules are. How the rules are set aside for us to be able to do this. If you truly feel strongly enough about it, you need to go through the process. That's what they have set in place, and there is an out for that. And we just have to know. It's just like when I was in college and we were talking about policy and everything. We have to know the rules better than the persons who created the rules, so that we can make the rules work in our favor or work for us rather than it work against us or to neutralize us. So if that's what we want, that's what we have to do. That's the requirement. That's what it takes.
So when I say Facebook, because I'm not sure you can sign, petitions in regards to government either.
Right.
But when I say that
Right.
is we have to reach our people, right? So mail
Right.
is not the way anymore. It's just not.
Mhm.
Most people, when they get their mail, they shredding it or throwing it in the trash, toss it on the table. Most people don't look at it. But guess what they do look at? Facebook,
I don't even think
Instagram.
I don't even think they send welfare checks out in the mail anymore.
But
Probably not.
but they probably don't. Everything is on the card now. But that's what I'm saying. So we have to figure out how to reach our people, and we have
Right.
to evolve in that. And if we have to reach out to them on Facebook and say, listen, check your mail this week. Everything coming through. I need you to sign this paper, send it back. We have to push that. And we push it on Facebook because everything is social media now. That's
Right.
where their attention is. In the mail, I can't even tell you if I got something in the mail in regards to politics, and I'm just being honest. But I can't tell you what I've seen on Facebook. I'm not on there much, but when I'm on there, I've seen it. So I think we have to reach our people, and that goes into evolving. We have to reach our people the way we can. And most people are just not checking for the mail anymore. I'm sorry, they're not. They're checking DMs, right? Checking what is the other one called? News feed. They check, that's what they
Stories.
check.
All right.
So that's where we need to
Shit.
put stuff.
Your DM popping tonight, eh?
I don't check DMs.
Not talking about.
I know
I'm
what you're
sorry.
saying. I'm
Not
messing
talking
with
about
you.
you. That's just what they be saying.
But
in
no,
these,
yeah, that's
these
what they be
young
saying.
streets.
So
Your
I mean,
DM hot tonight, huh? No, my
we
DM,
have to reach,
my DM dead like my mama.
or they left them on red, right? But
What that mean?
they didn't read it.
Oh yeah, I don't know nothing about that. I don't be in nobody DM. Shit.
I don't either, but I know what they're talking about,
Right.
because
Not me.
again,
I'm
I
slow.
read.
I ain't lying. I'm so slow.
Cut it out.
I'm green as a blade of grass.
But okay,
Shit.
so a lot of these politicians green as a blade of grass too. And you know
Uh-oh.
what? They're not even green. They know. They
They don't
know.
give a
They
shit.
know that things have changed. They know people are not checking the mail. So if I don't want you to know and I don't want you to vote, guess what I'm gonna do? Send it out the way you're not gonna pay attention to it.
I know the last what they're starting to do now is they're starting to do the phone, the town halls via phone conversations.
Right. Yeah.
They're calling your house phones and asking you to sit in, and you can ask question and they screen the question. If you're asking a safe question, they'll patch you through. If not, they'll put you on hold until the forum is over, and you just don't get to ask your question, which is bull.
Right. It's
But
another form of control.
right. So again, how do we change the conception and perception of what is becoming? Because again, we keep doing the same thing and keep electing the same people that, yeah, they sell us a great big ass dream when they want to get in office, but then once they get in office, you know, I call the insurance commissioner because I got an issue with insurance in the state of Louisiana. I called the insurance commissioner's office and shit. I couldn't even get nobody. But when they ready for our vote, they're always available. Like that's bull.
Yeah, but that's how it is. That's how it's going to be on that part. But again, read, research, do what you need to do before you vote for someone. Show me your credentials. Show me what you have
Right,
succeeded
and
in. Like we don't
that's
require
what
that.
we need to right. That's what we need to demand starting on from this day forward. We need to demand that you show us what you've done to affect change in your
Put your resume
community.
out there. Put
In,
your
in your
resume out there. Give me some
in,
references.
in your community, if you are local, if you're wanting to run for local office and you want my vote, show me what the hell you've done to affect change. If you want to be a regional politician like state representative and something like that, show me what you've done regionally to help children, to help schools gain funding. If you want to be a state representative or a congressman, show me what you've done nationally to affect change. And goddamn it, the standard need to be so high for the person that wants to run for president of the United States that he has to show us his tax return. No, just playing, just playing.
But you know what? The standard should be high in
Just
the
playing.
community because that's mainly, I mean, not that the president, you know, decisions don't affect us, but directly, like
Right.
Local government.
community. Right. So the standard should be high, period, across the board. And just like if you go apply for a job, you have to give examples of how you made changes in your last position, or if you've dealt with certain implementations, or you have to prove yourself. You have to show your resume. Sometimes in some companies you have to provide references. So why
Right.
don't we require the same thing? If and it may be out there. Again, we may just need to read. But I think at
Oh
the
wow.
initial, setup, that should be given. That should be put out there by them.
I think another point is we need to let disseminate to young people how important it is for them to vote and for them to be involved in the process. I had a student talk to me. I had a conversation with a student, and he was talking about why do we have to study social studies, and like what's the point? And I wasn't thinking about it then, but I'm thinking about it now. Like that would have been a really, really good teachable moment to show them how important, social studies and local government, how it affects him too. So we need to do a good job of educating young people on how all politics, but for me, local politics affect them directly.
Right.
Knowing that, hey, whenever you pay X amount of dollars to play city basketball, this is where it goes. Whenever you do these different things, that when you pay these tax dollars, that's how we have the Christmas parade. All these things that you enjoy comes from these different things that you participate in. Some, you do it without even knowing, and some, if you would get involved, it would benefit you a little bit more. If you're saying that we don't have enough lighting at this place where you conjugate that, hey, you can go talk to this councilman or this alderman or whatever and express your concerns because you're a citizen as well. It's almost like we need to have like even a youth council to educate them so that they can know what part, so they can see the importance of voting and being involved in this process, so they won't feel so much like an outsider to this process. And then that may even inspire them to say, hey, you know what? My local government is tapped out. You know, they're providing and doing everything that they can, and I need to start tapping into my state, government, and building relationships with them on how they can, so this stuff can trickle down to the people that need it the most. And then once they, and that may be inspire them to be a part of that process, and then so forth and so on, all the way up to the national level. But I think if we really start grassroots and get them to understand, I think that's what my uncle was trying to get me to understand whenever he was talking about the NACP and all that good stuff. He said, man, look, there's some things that we got to address right here, right now, in our community right now. And I'm going to teach you how to go about doing this. So I think if there was some type of, whether we create our own entity or piggyback off of something that someone has done before, because a lot of times we don't have to reinvent the wheel, we just need to refine it, and make it up to date,
relatable.
Yeah, and relatable, up to date, because we can't, like you said,
I think we teach them. We put emphasis on, and not saying we don't need history, but we need to teach them the effect of history,
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think we teach them that. I think we make, a big deal out of other things in history than teaching them how this is why they did it. This is how it affects your future. Not so much of focusing on the past. I also think we need to teach them that it's not a popularity contest. So don't just ride on things when it's popular and then it die down. We don't hear from you anymore. Continue, because guess what? It hasn't stopped. It's still going. It's another issue in another. It's just an issue in another state. So continue that and do it across the board, not just when it's popular and when it's going to get your face known. You want to do issues that are not popular as well, because they affect you too. So, I mean, I think you're right. We do need to make things more up to date and relatable, because they're not interested, because they don't, one, understand. Two, some of them think it doesn't work. Three, some of them looking at how long it took us to get where we are now. Do they really want to do that with their life? Probably not, but they need to understand how it affects their life if they don't. And I don't think we push that enough, on how it's going to affect your future, your kids' future. You are not okay.
Time. Y'all know I love you guys. This has been a really, really great, really interesting conversation. I never paid to the time till about 5 minutes ago, and we were at an hour and 17 minutes. Man, great job, you guys. I just want to make sure I convey this the right way. Um, I'm really proud of the fact that we were able to just have a discussion about politics, and no one got upset, no one got loud, no one got boisterous, um, no one left because they didn't like what someone else was saying. That shows true growth and true maturity, from the panel. You guys rock. So I'm gonna end with this. Um, I'm not the smartest person on the planet. I don't proclaim to be, but I pay attention to life and all that life offers because I love life. Um, Growing up as a young kid in Monroe, Louisiana, we weren't taught about politics. We weren't taught about what we need to be able to look for when election season comes, or when people are lying to us about our vote, to get their vote rather. Um, or definitely, all of us wasn't, we weren't being told that, hey, don't do this so that one day you might be a person of great character, and you'll be able to run for local office yourself, and now you can help affect change in your community. Um, but that's what we need to start teaching, and that's what I mean by creating politicians. Um, no, everyone doesn't have the mental capacity to be a politician. That takes a very special person. You have to be a person of honor, character, and all those other things. A person once told me that you can't be an honest person and be a politician. The only way you can be a politician is by being a liar and a cheater. That's the only way that you can get things done. I didn't believe that then, and I don't believe that now. You can be honorable and get stuff done. Again, Shapri said it earlier, and Chad echoed it. You have to have a team. You have to have a team of people that are knowledgeable in a few different facets of whatever you're looking to be a part of, be it local, regional, or national politics. Your team must reflect who you are and what you believe in. If the people if the people that you're asking to represent you, if they don't or won't answer your phone calls, they're not the people who should be leading your communities. If you never see the people who have been elected in your communities, then they're not the people who need to be leading you or anyone else in life. If your state representatives or senators or congressmen, if you can't pick up the phone and call their office, and yes, we know they're very busy people, but you should be able to, like, they should be able to call you back one time because they knew who you were or found out about you when they were asking for your vote. So don't let them use that excuse or that flat out lie that they were too busy. You weren't too busy to get my vote. If you're going to be a politician, be a humanitarian as well. Be a person that has a heart and a love as Christ loves us, because that's what we need to help change society. That's what we need to help kids see that you do not have to be what your community says. That's how we change poverty. That's how we're gonna change poverty. That's how we're gonna change all the things that threaten life as we know it today by being humane. Thank you guys, Chad Wilson. Thank you, Shapri Barnes, for being the panel today. You guys rock. Um, um, Again, life off the bench is not your life off the bench is not your average podcast. We're not trying to get views or popularity through foolishness. We're trying to help change lives through dealing with real life solutions and real life problems and giving real life answers. I hope that someone was helped here today um, by the words that were spoken by the panelists. Me, I'm nobody. I don't mean anything. Um,
Cut it out.
but
Everybody on this panel is somebody. So stop it.
I just, I like to see things change. I like to see better schools built across the country. Um, I like to see kids given more of a fighting chance to be successful in their everyday life. So I talk too damn much. uh, Man. Hey, I love you guys. Chad, you got anything? Okay,
Just
no. Oh,
just just be involved. Be involved. You know, in all the things that's going on in your local, especially in your local governments. Just be a part of the process.
Shapri.
Just understand, be involved, and show up at the door if you have to. Not the door, the door if you have to. And get some results.
Right. Hey, thank you guys. Remember, get off the bench, get into the game.